We don't have an ethno-state because we stopped listening to nonsense like this. And nobody ever just comes up. No, if Elon went up on an interview and he said, I want an ethno-state, nobody would listen to him. This is the rhetoric that builds an ethno-state. Slowly but surely, you start getting rid of people that you don't like based on their religion, based on their skin color, based on their sexuality, whatever it might be. That's why he wants to do this. He wants to take places where he's comfortable that are predominantly white, and he wants to only do trade with them. And then he's going to suggest that we continue to do the same policies that Trump is doing now, where we're deporting people. New report came out today. 75% of the people that we've put in the El Salvadorian prisons, we don't have evidence that they are members of gangs. All right. Elon Musk, who is now clearly been told by the investors of Tesla, come home and we're gonna cover, like, we're gonna be careful with your messaging. He went on and he went and did an interview with an Italian news station. And this is just an edit of some of the clips from Elon this week or this weekend. I want to say this. Obviously, this is a man who has changed his tone. It's now a person who has to listen to his investors, and his investors are saying, hey, dude, you got to be quiet. You got to stop agreeing with Trump on everything. This isn't working for us. I saw this morning Tesla stock's down another 5% just today. So Elon's little experiment of, I'm going to go to Washington, everybody loves me, I've got great ideas, this will work out for me in the long run, isn't working. So naturally, he's not going to do interviews with American journalists, but he is going to do interviews with Italian journalists.
It is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. I think radical deregulation is necessary in Europe. And if that means leaving the EU, it means leaving the EU. The attacks, the terrorism, the killing of innocent people is rising. Every week, there's more, and it's more and more, and eventually, I think we're going to see widespread slaughter.
Now, we've got the fear-mongering going. This is what's interesting about all of this. MAGA, Elon, everybody on the right wing. We already did what he's talking about. They already did this in England. They did Brexit. It was a nightmare. The protectionist, the nationalist policies that incite all the violence and incite all the rhetoric and get people really worked up and excited. They're like, I'm tired of people who are different than me. I want to live in a country where people who are different than me don't get to be here. And that's my right as a resident of this country to determine our laws. And Brexit was a complete and total disaster. When you isolate yourself from the rest of the world, it doesn't go well. It never has. Like, it's not just now that we have like global trade that's more prolific than ever. It's always when you isolate yourself from the rest of the world, you have problems. And so now Elon can't even get it through over here in America now. Now he's going over to Europe and he's like, hey, you guys got to do the same thing. Look how well this worked out for us in America. You guys should follow the lead.
It's very difficult to reduce the size of the bureaucracy and government spending. It comes with immense opposition. Even when the things that we are cutting make no sense at all, it's
somebody should just clip that and play it forever for Doge. It's hard to do, especially when the cuts you're making make no sense at all.
Still gets a lot of opposition, but we're very transparent with the Department of Government Efficiency. So any action that we make, we post on the Doge.gov website and we post on our X account. So it's extreme transparency. But nonetheless, we get accused of all sorts of things, but we are extremely transparent, and we're only cutting the most obvious, terrible expenses that make no sense.
All right, that's where I wanted to cut that. But he's now like trying to whitewash this everywhere else. There is no transparency. There is no transparency to any of these Doge cuts, and he doesn't have like the charisma to pull it off like Trump. Like, Trump could pull it off. He'll lie right to your face, and you're like, wow, man, he's saying it so confidently. It must be true. Elon doesn't have the charisma for that. That's our background today, by the way. Patriotism means to stand with the country. It does not mean to stand with the president, former president, Theodore Roosevelt. There was one more clip that I just wanted to show you. There's two clips here. In the first clip, you're going to have Elon talking about the insanity of mass migration, and then he's going. And then in the next clip, we're reversing course. The point in showing you these clips is that these are allegedly very intelligent people who don't understand the impact of what they do, and they don't understand how often they take two sides of the same argument.
Yes. The mass immigration is insane and will lead to the destruction of any country that allows unfettered mass immigration. That country will simply cease to exist. At the end of the day, it is a numbers game, a numbers situation.
See, that doesn't make sense, though, right? Like, a country doesn't cease to exist because you have mass migration. And what he said, it's a numbers game. It's a number of situations. No, it's not. They've run out of ways to explain away their desires to have an ethno-state. What we're talking about here is just like anti-Islamic rhetoric or anti-immigrant rhetoric. And they don't even have like a good reasoning. That's why it sounds brain dead. Like, people believe Elon because Elon has a lot of money. And so when he says things like, if you have mass migration, your country will cease to exist. I'm old enough to remember when I went to school, and I remember that there was just a handful of people that came to America. And since 1776 until now, we've had mass migration, and our country is still here. Some would say more powerful than ever.
And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. So
what's the solution? What's the solution to these problems for free trade? Because on the one hand, we want to be protectionist, so we don't want to let Muslims into our country, or in this case, South Americans or Central Americans into our country. On the other hand, we desperately need international trade. We desperately need global trade because our countries in isolation can't do it. So now Elon's just like, you know what we really ought to do? Here's the plan. Let's just have all the white countries trade with each other. Why is it a problem to have global trade with the global South? Why is it a problem to have global trade with Asian countries? But it's a solution to have global trade with Europe. I wonder why that might be. He's just trying to expand that ethno-state. Like, the ethno-state argument's not working here in America, so he's like, oh, it can't be me. I can't be wrong here. So let's just expand the size of our ethno-state and make sure we have white trade on white trade or Western trade with Western trade. But we're not going to elevate any of these other countries.
That would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view.
Oh, just move right. That's very libertarian of him, by the way. That's a libertarian point of view. No borders. You should just be able to go.
So that has certainly been my advice to the president.
Europe's not a country. Look at all the white nationalists in here. What do you mean a white country? You know exactly what I mean. Like, it's funny. These guys will advocate for an ethno-state, and then the lack of an ethno-state, like, you'll be like, oh, well, we don't have an ethno-state. Yeah, no shit. We don't have an ethno-state. We don't have an ethno-state because we stopped listening to nonsense like this. And nobody ever just comes up. No, if Elon went up on an interview and he said, I want an ethno-state, nobody would listen to him. This is the rhetoric that builds an ethno-state. Slowly but surely, you start getting rid of people that you don't like, based on their religion, based on their skin color, based on their sexuality, whatever it might be. That's why he wants to do this. He wants to take places where he's comfortable that are predominantly white, and he wants to only do trade with them. And then he's going to suggest that we continue to do the same policies that Trump is doing now, where we're deporting people. A new report came out today. 75% of the people that we've put in the El Salvadorian prisons, we don't have evidence that they are members of gangs. I don't know what the number is. I don't know what percentage of those people are in gangs, but 75% of them, we've seen no evidence that they are members of gangs. How many of those people are white? How many? I think it's zero. I don't think anybody. So you guys can play your semantics. You can do this thing like where you try and like reverse engineer racism when people use generic terms like predominantly white countries. You can do that all you want, but you want the ethno-state too. The real question is, why do you guys always have to hide your plans? If your ideas are so fucking good, if ethno-states are so valuable and so warranted, why do you guys always have to lie about it? Why do you always have to lie about what your plans are? You know what the plan is. You watch enough Nick Fuentes. You watch enough of these guys behind closed doors. You watch enough of Matt Walsh. You know what the plan is. It's just that none of you are willing to say it publicly. That's all. That's what it really boils down to. Publicly, you guys pretend it's about something else. Privately, we all know what it's about. We all know it's about creating an ethno-state.
The things that we are cutting make no sense at all.